welcome to everyone. As you can see, we are here sitting in Dubai at our partner law firm's office next to the Burj Khalifa. And there are several topics we would like to cover today, including establishment of company, procedure in the UAE versus Europe and/or England and Wales, or the UK in general. I would just ask maybe everyone to briefly introduce him or herself, and then we can go on with the conversation.
Hello everyone, my name is Jocelyn Khairallah. I am a lawyer and director of Khairallah Advocates and Legal Consultancy. I have practiced under UAE law over 18 years. I am a litigator in UAE, and I have the experience to present my client in all stages of the court as a litigator.
Hello everyone, my name is Matej Ruzicka. I'm responsible for our office in Vienna. I'm working as an associate at the law firm NZP Legal, and I'm looking forward to our conversation with our partners.
Hi everyone, my name is Abdul Bahrainwala. I'm partner, senior lawyer, head of corporate department at Khairallah Advocates and Legal Consultants. With over 15 years of experience in contracts, I do represent clients in establishing companies. I do appear before all arbitration centers in UAE. Thank you.
And last but not least, my name is Peter Thaler. I am one of the partners of the law firm NZP. I usually do litigation as well, arbitration, and I will be talking about the UK jurisdiction today. So the first topic we would like to mention today is the basics about the jurisdictions. Is it the civil law jurisdiction? Is it rather a common law type of jurisdiction in Dubai? Mrs. Jocelyn, can you tell us something about the situation in the UAE and in Dubai in general?
Yes, of course. I'm actually, based on my experience, the jurisdiction in UAE developed dramatically. So UAE started with the civil system in the beginning, and when they established the DIFC court, they mixed the civil system with the common system. Even in the civil system, there is so many procedures of the common system apply in our court, in our local court, but there is here some differences. I think that the differences in UAE, it's come because there is a federal court, which the high court, which apply in the whole UAE, and there is as well a local courts. Local courts, it's only on specific emirates who have the right to establish their own jurisdiction, like Iraq, Dubai, and Abu Dhabi. But if we go to the law apply, the UAE law apply on the whole emirates, whether federal court or civil court. So this is the general information about our jurisdiction. I would like very much also to know in UK, as per your practice, what kind of system is applied and what is the complication as well.
Mm-hmm. So traditionally, it's a common law system. Obviously, it's where the common law developed to begin with, but there is a tendency that there is more and more statutory law. So it's we can see a certain development that statutory law kind of how should I put it? Statutory law is developing as well, just at the same speed as maybe on the continent. But traditionally, obviously, the legal precedent, judicial precedent is still very important. But I guess you have the same phenomenon within the IFC at least.
Yes, and recently also, the IFC, it shared they have their own court, and as well Abu Dhabi, they established AGGMI, which is the Financial Market Center of Abu Dhabi. They apply the common law as well. From actually respected of several investors in the country, where they prefer to have their actually execute the common system and to be easier for them as per their culture and background.
I see. And then as a quite of a contrast, we have the continent, Austria, Germany, where technically at least we don't have any sort of common law system, but it's developing maybe at that direction as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't say common law. In Austria, Austria is one of the oldest civil law jurisdiction on the European continent, with a civil code over 200 years old. But the judicial decisions of the Supreme Court, they have authoritative effect, even if they are not binding on the lower courts.
But they are being observed, and everyone wants
They are being
sides.
observed and being followed by the lower courts without the effect of being binding.
Okay.
Same is true actually also for Germany. So we do follow the sort of precedents of the Federal Supreme Court. That's where you are usually looking for the answer if you have a problem to solve. And just technically they are not binding, but actually they are being observed, like I said.
I think we face in UAE a similar problem because we use the principle from the federal court or even cassation from the local court, and we use them, but those they will not be binding, can be changed anytime under any new decision from the court and with a new explanation, and which in my opinion it's in some cases it's give untrust and not full confidence from our client. I'm not saying that the UK system is it's more maybe more fit and trustful, because you know from the binding principle there is the 100% decision from the court will be in favor of your client, while in our system you cannot give this percentage anymore in our system to your client. It will be impossible as well.
Is there a huge difference between mainland Dubai and the IFC, or what is your opinion?
In our jurisdiction, parties, they have right where they can select their own jurisdiction in event of any dispute. Parties can either opt for jurisdiction of mainland courts, or they can opt for jurisdiction of DIFC courts. However, there are certain cases where both the parties, if they are located in DIFC or it is a company registered in DIFC, then it will have default jurisdiction of courts of DIFC. Comparing both the courts in hierarchy of courts, in Dubai courts we have first instance courts, we have court of appeal, we have court of cassation. In DIFC courts we have three levels of court. We have small claim tribunal, we have court of first instance and court of appeal. If the claim amount is less than 500,000, matter will be heard and adjudicated by small claim tribunals, which is subjected to appeal before first instance.
See, but I guess that only covers, just for the sake of clarity, that only covers commercial law. So criminal law, family law are uniform.
For criminal cases, always there is jurisdiction of mainland courts. DIFC will not preside over any criminal case.
Mm-hmm. But it is, I could say, maybe the preferred choice for arbitration if you are in Dubai.
In Dubai, yes, parties can opt for arbitration. We have Dubai International Arbitration Center. Parties can opt to resolve any dispute in accordance with DIA rules.
I see. So on that note, let's talk maybe about arbitration as well, because that is a matter we deal with on an everyday basis. I think I can say that. Would you say that arbitration is better than the state courts in Dubai, or Does it depend?
Again, it depends. It depends. If the parties are located in UAE, if it is a mainland company or a DIFC company, enforcement is again very important. If parties opt for DIAC arbitration, then the procedure is first we need to approach DIAC Arbitration Center for registering the case. Matter will be presided by the tribunal. They will adjudicate the case. After receiving the final award, again parties they need to approach local courts for ratification of arbitral award. Once the arbitral award is ratified, then you proceed with the enforcement case. If matter involves two companies, if one company is in UAE and second party is overseas, we can opt for arbitration because UAE is again part of their signatory to New York Convention. So in terms of enforcing those awards in foreign jurisdiction, it is much faster and preferred by parties.
Which is a good thing. Then you can enforce those awards in Europe, for instance, as well, because most of the European countries, if not all, are parties to the same convention as well. Same goes to the UK as well. So let's suppose we have an award coming from Vienna or London, then it's technically at least very easy to enforce the award in Dubai as well, I guess.
Right. And UAE again, it is party to many bilateral treaties. Even DIFC courts they have signed bilateral agreements with several high courts across the globe for recognition and enforcing those judgments pronounced by those foreign courts.
On that quote, then let's maybe talk about those foreign courts or arbitration centers in Europe we have had experience with. Can you maybe summarize the main advantages of Vienna, which is one of the main arbitration centers within Europe?
Yeah, Vienna used to be the traditional dispute settlement forum before the regime change in East and West investment disputes. So Vienna is traditionally very strong in arbitration, and especially the Vienna Arbitral Center. It's quite a unique thing in Austria that tribunal can release interim measures and they are enforceable in Austria. So it's possible to the tribunal to release a freezing injunction, and it's enforceable in Austria.
Something which is quite unique.
Quite unique in the world of arbitration.
I have a question here. If we get award from Vienna, how we can enforce it in UK if our client has asset in UK? Is that there is a specific procedure, or they will go under the EU, or this is exempt from the EU now?
Is a non-EU question now, and it is governed by the same convention, the New York Convention on the recognition of arbitral award. I can say it's quite a straightforward procedure to get a foreign judgment or an award recognized within the UK. Talking about the UK, it consists of more than one jurisdiction. So if you want to enforce that arbitral award in England and Wales, which is one of the jurisdictions, then you have to apply to the courts of England and Wales. And if you have some assets that you want to enforce against in Scotland, then technically it's one more procedure. Since can be a little bit complicated, but I guess most of the opponents usually have their company sit in London, so then it's England and Wales, and then it's usually a high court officer who is in charge of the execution.
This is quite different than our jurisdiction, because enforcing the foreign award in UAE, it will need to be attested from the court first, and then we will file the execution. And even though we have maybe stages of appeal court and cassation when we assess the award from the court, and we face this problem because we expect under the legal procedure awards supposed to be enforced directly from the court without getting the attestation. But until now, the procedure of attestation from the court is must. So hopefully, in the future, just to minimize the time for our client and for most of the investor who's looking to getting this award for a long journey, to get it in force directly and immediately without extra proceeding from the court as well.
So technically, there is an extra in-between procedure in London as well. So last time we filed for a recognition of a foreign judgment, it took like 2 to 3 business days, I guess, and when one single stamp, and the only thing we had to pay was £39. So it was quite reasonable.
But as far what we know, the arbitration in UK is quite expensive. I would like very much to have a briefly information about the fees in arbitration in London, whether the fees of arbitrator or the fees of the center.
Yes, it is one of the most expensive places in Europe, and if not in the whole world. So yes, prices can skyrocket. We are being still quite reasonable in terms of the hourly rates, because usually it is an hourly rate which is charged. But I heard that some barristers tend to charge £2,000 an hour for the arbitration cases in Russia-related investment arbitrations nowadays in London. So they can really skyrocket, and the same goes for the cost of the arbitration center as well. So if it is a low value case, then you might as well spend more just on getting your statement of claims registered than the whole outstanding amount, which can be ridiculous. So it starts maybe to make sense if the outstanding amount is at least 100,000. Otherwise, you would really have to maybe invest more in the procedure than what you would get at the end of the day, which is quite sad. But yes, we had some better experience with Vienna, because even though it is also a quite expensive place of arbitration, it is still moderate and reasonable if you compare it to London at least.
Okay. I think if we compare it by DIAC, our arbitration center in Dubai, our fees is very reasonable, and still for most of the client, when they sign the contract and they are not aware about the arbitration clause, they get shocked when we send him the arbitration fees. I think Abdul Tayyib, he will give us better overview about the fees in DIAC, which is 100% cheaper than Vienna and UK.
We have non-refundable application fees payable at the time of registering the application, which is only 5,000 dirhams. And during the proceedings, parties will be asked to pay 10,000 dirhams towards advance on cost. Depending upon the claim amount and number of arbitrators, there is fixed fee for DIAC Arbitration Center, which needs to be paid by both the claimant and respondent. If the respondent fails to pay their share, the claimant will be asked to substitute the payment, and at the end of the hearing, losing party will be obliged to pay the full arbitration cost.
This is quite acceptable, I think,
It is.
in our jurisdiction. And if we compare it, when we compare the arbitration with litigation process, either by how much you spend and how much time you spend and how much money you spend, we still see that litigation is more affordable for most of the businessmen in Dubai. And we as a legal representative and existing in UAE, we always advise our client, arbitration, it should be chosen by a huge claim amount. So I think with a huge claim amount where the contract may be over 50, 100 million, whatever you pay for the arbitrator it's acceptable. But when you have your claim amount between thousands and millions, I think court in UAE, all the courts, whether Dubai court or even Abu Dhabi, Iraq as well. All the court, they can deal with the case very professional, with minimum expensive and also with very accessible time. A client can spend nowadays with any commercial case between 6 to 9 months, and he will get final judgment executed immediately, which is comparing with other countries is speed actually procedure. So I would like very much to know from you, Mr. Peter, in UK when we speak about litigation by the expensive and also the time. Is this will take a longer or it's a short proceeding? What is the different? Is there's different ways of courts or depends on the claim amount as well?
Yes, so if it is a lower amount you want to recover, then I would also advise to take the state court system, which can be quite effective and also time effective. So there are specialized low claim, small claim courts, and there is also a fast track way to get a decision, which is a nice thing, which is something you don't really have with arbitration. Usually you can spend quite a lot of time just about the disputes on the person of the arbitrator if it is not fixed, so that can cost you time and money as well, and yeah, it can be lengthy, the whole arbitration. So like you said, it starts to make sense above $1 million or so, because then you have all the resources to finance the procedure. A real life example maybe from Vienna, that last time, just to give you some figures, the court reporter, so it was basically the lady typing the minutes. I think alone she requested 12,000 euros in advance, so basically for typing.
It's a quite expensive argument. But as far as I know, the court fees or the arbitration fees will be covered by the loser in the case. How about the lawyer fees in your jurisdiction as well, in Vienna as well? I would like very much, if the lawyer fees is covered in some way.
So if it's a small claims court, then usually you bear your own fees, except for court fees and some reasonable expenses. But on the other hand, you have a straightforward procedure, but you have to calculate with the possibility that nothing will be recovered on the lawyer's cost. Yes, it's not really winner friendly. On the other hand, in the arbitration, you can expect to get everything recovers on legal costs as well to a reasonable amount. And like I said, as far as prices have skyrocketed now, also the hourly rates, it can be quite a huge amount which you want to recover at the end of the day. Same goes for Germany. But then the court fees tend to be way higher than in the UK, because usually it's 2 or 3 figure amount you have to invest for registering your claim in the UK, and then the procedure can go ahead. But in Germany, it can be very well like 4, if not a 5 figure amount you have to pay upfront to finance the courts.
Mm-hmm. And the lawyer fees is covered in Germany?
It's covered up until a reasonable amount, and what is reasonable is it depends on statutory law. But those statutory fees can be, how should I put it, not too high.
Okay.
So it's a statutory minimum which is recovered, and then if you want to get more recovered, then you have to provide with some sort of justification as for why you really had to pay a higher fee. Whereas the same goes for Austria as well.
Yeah, the same goes to Austria. The legislator put the legal fees, the lawyer fees on a statutory footing. So if your legal fees are above this statutory limit, you won't be able to recover your full legal fees. but until this limit based on the act on the legal fees.
I think the question of most of our clients, the first question they ask is the fees we pay to the lawyer will be covered or not. And unfortunately in UAE, we don't, there is no cover of the lawyer fees. And what they put in the decision of the court is very disappointing because it's unacceptable amount as a proceeding, especially on the civil court, as taking not session. Sometimes we spend over 55 sessions for one case. So it's end with no cover the legal fees. It's such a disappointing from our clients. We face this. And we're looking in the future for changing the law, and this is to be covered from the loser. Because honestly, if you ask me, it's unfair. The one who's trying several times, whether by sending legal notice or to mediate the case before taking a legal procedure, whether he's supposed to cover the legal fees from the loser end of the case. Actually, would like very much also to highlight establishing company in UAE, and I think Abdul Tayyib, he will be willing to explain to us what is the difference between establishing company on the mainland and also free zone in UAE, especially after changing the company law recently, and this is change in favor of investor in UAE. Please, Abdul Tayyib, give us more information about it.
We have three main types of companies. One is establishing a mainland company, second is establishing free zone company, and third is establishing offshore company. In the UAE, in the past, if any party wants to establish a mainland company, there was a requirement where 51% shares needs to be owned by a UAE national. But recently there is amendment in the law which now allows foreigners to own company 100% shares of the company in more than 1,000 activities. Benefit of establishing mainland company is there are no area restrictions. If a party establish a company in Dubai, they are free to operate in the full Emirate or in United Arab Emirates without any limitation. Whereas if we establish a mainland company, we now have more than 46 free zones in UAE. Those free zone companies are again restricted to perform the activity only within free zone. If they want to perform their activity outside of free zone, they require a local agent. Third form of company, offshore, is a preferred company for establishing holding structure. So offshore companies, they are allowed to own real estate, they are allowed to own shares of different companies in the UAE, which is more preferred and used for succession purpose.
So unfortunately, we don't, or European companies at least don't enjoy the same freedom of movement and freedom of establishment as it used to be prior to Brexit. But the UK still remains an open jurisdiction. So, in my opinion, it won't be the UK, the party which doesn't want the European entities to operate within the UK. So you are still free to establish a local branch office if you are a foreign company. But usually it makes more sense just to get a limited liability company registered in the UK because it can be all electronic. It's usually a matter of 1 to 2 business days to get the paperwork done and get the company registered. So it's one of the best in the region.
Such a fast procedure.
If you compare it to Germany, we can say we are lucky if we get the company registered within 2 weeks, as opposed to sometimes just some hours within the UK or even in Hungary. I would say it doesn't take usually more than 2 business days. And I think that's the way to go because in Germany or in Austria it can be quite time consuming and you need a notary public, but maybe you can tell us something.
Yeah, normally, yeah, but there are some exceptions from this obligation with the registration. So if you choose to register a company based on the form and it's an easy structure, you may be able to avoid the registration and to go to a notary public. If you decide to go to Austria, you will be a part of the single European market and be able to operate in the whole European Union without restrictions. When it comes to foreigners, Austria is an open jurisdiction as well. There are no legal restrictions in establishing a company in Austria for foreign citizens.
And just to answer your question, we usually don't have any free trade zones or anything similar.
Unfortunately
not. There are some areas which are benefited in terms of a special tax regime, maybe, but these huge differences, as we experience it here in Dubai, they just don't exist.
It's quite interesting, actually, the differences between how we establish company in UAE and what is the difference between UK and Vienna as well. I think we gained also recently benefit from the free zone company, because the free zone company in UAE, they don't pay any tax, while the tax apply on the mainland company 5%, and now we have also the new tax, the 9% of on the businesses. So this is also it's a way when we want to advise our client which area is best for them, and as well the expenses of establishing company. Clients sometimes they face problem when he do the comparison between establishing in Iraq free zone or establish in Jabal Ali free zone, for example. At the same time, mainland, it's an option where when you want really to deal and you want to expand your business on the Emirates only, not to do import-export outside of the Emirates. I think it will be also very interesting if we speak a little bit about the tax in the country. Abdul Taib, you can give us brief about the tax law in UAE and vice versa. We can discuss this from the UK and the Vienna, Hungary as well.
From January 2018, we have 5% VAT value-added tax, which is applicable on all the invoices or service invoice, or whether it is goods. It is applicable 5%. Then from June 2023, 9% corporate tax is introduced, which is applicable if the profit of the company exceeds 375,000 dirham. But free zones are qualified, is considered as qualified persons. So any income of free zone companies which is from their dealings outside the country, this will not be taxable. So it is free zones are considered still tax-free haven. Can you please tell us about UK and?
Yes, so in Western Europe, the taxes tend to be progressive, so that means that the more you earn, the higher the figure will be. So it's impossible to tell you a concrete figure because it depends on the concrete number.
Is there percentage, Mr. Peter, on the earning tax? Is there a fixed percentage if you earn? They will cut from your benefit or from your profit specific amount?
Yes, at the end of the day, usually in Germany, if you operate a limited liability company, it can go up to something about 40%, and the same can be true in the UK as well. So the effective tax burden, for example, in Germany is 38-ish%, which is quite high. That means everything added all together, what the family has to pay. It's quite high. There is one notable exception on the continent, Hungary, with the flat rate tax. The corporate tax is 9%, and the income tax is fixed at the rate of 15% as well, which can be quite beneficial if you want to establish your presence in Europe.
How about Vienna?
In Austria, we have this dynamic taxation for the income tax as well. The corporate tax is 24% this year. Next year it will be 23%. So it's quite high in comparison to Free Zone and to the Emirates. If you have a limited liability company and it's not profitable at all, so normally you pay corporate tax on the profit you make. In the event that the company is not profitable, you still have to pay a minimum level of tax. It's about 5,000 euros a year. So yeah.
This is will considered as a fees for the tax authority, or it will be considered as a fixed tax?
It's in the case you are not profitable, it's a fixed fee.
Fixed fees.
Yeah.
So you lose, then you lose twice because you have to
Yeah.
finance the state.
You don't make profit and you have to pay. Okay. I think we covered a very important and interesting topic from the legal perspective. I'm really happy of this discussion in our office today, and hopefully we can do it in the future in Germany as well in Vienna, and maybe in UK one day. Why not? Would you like to add anything, Mr. Peter?
Yes, sure. I'm looking forward to having you as our guest next week in Hungary. So let's hope that we will have a good time there, and you can have some more clients as well who are eager to establish their presence in the UAE.
Looking forward as well to see you there. And how about you? Would like to add anything, Mr. Mark, to this conversation?
Yeah, thank you very much for this thought-provoking conversation, and I'm looking forward to meeting you one day in our Vienna office.
Inshallah, inshallah. And طيب, you're actually the mic with you to say the ending of this conversation also.
I would like to thank Paul for this very interesting conversation where we discuss about 3 different jurisdictions. In fact, 4 jurisdictions. We discuss about UAE, we discuss about UK, Germany, as well as we discuss about Austria. This is very interesting.
Thank you, everyone. I'm looking forward to have another maybe conversation in Hungary very soon. Thank you very much.